Okay, hello to everyone, and thanks for joining the 15th info session on education training in the space sector, focused on new popular studies in the space sector and what are the current trends at the European level. Today we have a very rich program, so I think I will give the floor immediately to our first speaker. I would just like to underline that NEREUS is a space association, and almost 2/3 of our associate members are universities. So we really pay attention on the education training sector, on education training in the space sector, and how this current and future workforce can really make the best use of satellite data to benefit public domains in regional and local levels. It's my pleasure to present to you Dr. Jacek Bilas. He's the director of the Center for Cognitive Research at the Ignatianum University in Krakow, in Poland. And he is focused on research projects in space psychology. Ignatianum University joined NEREUS 2 months ago. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jacek. Maximum 2 months ago. So it's a great pleasure to have you. Please mute yourselves. To have you as a speaker today. Of course, introduce yourself and your university, but first and foremost, I would like you to focus on what is space psychology. It's a new field for us in Europe. In US, I think it's something common, but here in Europe, we don't hear this so much often. We are looking forward to hearing your presentation. The floor is yours. Please remember to share your presentation.
Okay, I'm doing it now.
Yes.
Just give me a second.
In the meantime, I would like to remind to our audience to mute themselves to ensure a good acoustic. Perfect. Yes, we see it.
Right. Thank you all for this opportunity to briefly introduce our university and plans to carry out, as you, Margarita, said, research in the field of so-called space psychology. And this is also, by the way, the reason for our membership in NEREUS. Well, Ignatianum University in Krakow follows the tradition of Jesuit education, which began in Krakow in the 17th century. The modern history of our school started in 1867, and it adopted the name Ignatianum in 1999. So far, our university has specialized in the humanities and social sciences, but recently, the university authorities have been considering expanding its scope to include the natural or so-called exact sciences. For example, this year we have prepared and launched a bachelor degree program in cognition and informatics, which focuses on the topic of artificial intelligence. We are considering opening a department of computer science and so on. And we have also come up with the idea to develop our potential in dealing with space-related issues. There are several reasons for this. The first...
sorry, Jacek, in case you change slides, we don't see the next slide. We see just the first slide you presented, space psychology. Yeah.
This one or this one?
This one, we see this one.
Yes. So the first reason is that Ignatianum actually is already somehow cosmic or operates in space. And we decided to deal with space psychology at Ignatianum University in Krakow, or to do space psychology on Ignatianum. I know that it sounds weird, but in the year 2010, Lithuanian astronomers, in collaboration with the Vatican Observatory, discovered a new asteroid and decided to name it after the name of our school, after Ignatianum. This was accepted by the International Astronomical Union, and this asteroid has now the name of our university. This is actually the certificate stating it. Of course, it's just a joke. We have much more serious reasons to come up with this idea to start dealing actually with space psychology. For some time, we have realized that the research we had already been carrying out in our laboratories could align well with the field of so-called space psychology. This is a relatively new field, but one that is gaining significance, and we may be considering or we may have something to offer in this area. Moreover, the relationship between our current research and space psychology is mutual. On the one hand, the issue of human functioning in space can provide interesting new conditions for validating our current research findings. I will return to this point later. And on the other, these studies could fill a gap in our knowledge regarding various aspects of human and animal functioning in space. Oh, sorry. All right. So the reasons we decided to join NEREUS actually is because we think that there could be mutual benefits between psychological research in standard environment, which we have been doing so far, and psychological research in space or extreme conditions. So that's the first reason. The second is sharing competences and resources with other partner organizations interested in space research. We have something to offer. We need some help, somebody else. I'm sure you have something, you have much to offer, and so on. And the third reason is to try to make the most of our research results also for the benefit of communities, including local communities. Our main fields of research in the perspective of space psychology, I hope you still see my presentation, is the research on motor conditions of cognitive processes, like, for example, visual spatial attention, or biological rhythms and chronotypes, the impact of stress factors, like, for example, high temperature on neural tissue, and personality determinants of coping with stress, like, for example, temperament and character. So our plans and the possible outcomes are just as you see it. For example, validating premotor theory of attention in the condition of lack of gravity or in the hypergravity, and showing specific attentional patterns in space environment. Let me dwell on this topic just for a little longer. I mean, according to the premotor theory of attention, our attentional processes, mostly visual attention, is actually equivalent for motor preparation of such effectors like eyeballs, palms, hands, movements. And our attention as an inner psychological process depends heavily on this process of motor preparation. So and we have already showed it in experimental research. And now we have come up with this idea that if we provide our subjects with special conditions, like, for example, lack of gravity, or on the contrary, hypergravity, this impact should be even bigger, which may show from the other perspective that astronauts, for example, use the attention in a slightly different way than in regular conditions on the Earth. This is what we want to do, actually, to show that the attentional processes in space function in a little different way, and that we should take it into consideration just to provide, for example, astronauts during the training with the ways to control the attentional processes in a better way. We also want to, or we have already started researching the impact of high temperature on neural tissue. That's what we have already done, but we would like to expand our research now on other conditions, like, for example, low temperature or lack of oxygen. I mean, of course, all those conditions which we deal with in space, and also to possibly find the ways to mitigate such impacts on neural tissues. I would even say that the main theme of our research is the personality determinants of functioning under stress. For example, stress arising from challenging environmental conditions, like composition of inhaled air, like, for example, lack of oxygen, atmospheric pressure, specific diet, sensory deprivation, and so on, in order to develop an effective recruitment procedure, like, for example, for astronauts, pilots, submarine crew members, and also working out the ways for better coping with such stress or stressful conditions. More by and large, this is what we mean by space psychology, something that we have already done in regular laboratory circumstances, environmental conditions, which could be used for the sake of our knowledge about human functioning in extreme special conditions. So, Margarita, when you asked what is this space psychology, I would say that it's just psychology, but in specific conditions. So it's psychology validated in a little bit different environment to find out if the processes or mechanisms we have already discovered, psychological mechanisms, are more or less similar or different in for example,
humans operate on Earth.
Yes. So this is, as far as I'm concerned, of course, please be welcome to ask any questions. I would be happy to try to answer them.
Thank you very much, Jacek. I stopped sharing your presentation for this very interesting presentation of yours. It's a difficult subject, I have to say, to work on that. Difficult and complicated. You have to examine many different aspects and to see it from different angles. I have many questions for you, but I really want to give the floor to the audience as well. So I will just ask you the following question. Do you work with a specific methodology or a tool incorporated to simulate psychological conditions of long-term space travel?
Well, no and yes. No, because we haven't actually carried out, I don't know if this is an English expression, longitudinal studies. This what you called long-term experiments.
Like 6 months travel, even 1 year.
Yes, we haven't done it yet, but the patterns we hope we have discovered, or we contributed to discovering, we think wouldn't change or shouldn't change during in longer perspective. I mean, if they function in this way during the experiment we have already carried out, they should function in the same way for longer. I mean, like for 2 months or 3 months. So this is what we assume, but we are not sure. So my answer is we want to do it, actually.
And what was the reason for creating such a master program? There was a need in your region for that.
The main reason is that we have quite competent potential partners in, for example, our city, in Krakow, which we could join our efforts with to meet our goals.
So you had the material, the workforce for this.
The resources, yes.
The resources.
And having the resources, we thought that this is an excellent opportunity to make the most of them. And we also have some resources. I mean, some expertise and some competences. So it was rather having an opportunity and thinking about making the most of this opportunity.
Did you interview astronauts for the purposes of this master program, or of the research, actually?
No, not yet. We haven't had an access to this experimental or this research group. But if you actually, I should underline. I should have underlined this before, that what we are here for in this organization is also to ask you for some help to, for instance, gain an access to some experimental groups or research groups, which would be very difficult for us to do on our own. So answer
I
is,
think
again,
the next speaker is quite interesting because she's working on experimental on the experimental field. One last question from my side, then I give the floor to Laura Stamatis and the rest of the audience. When you built this course, did you have in mind any programs running in other parts of the world, like US, for example, or India, and let's say you borrowed the structure of this program course from other areas, places of this?
We have sort of cooperated.
Did you inspired by other?
Yes, that's more like it. We got rather inspired by other research centers, but also we have already established some cooperation, which is again on a very preliminary level. There are so many things going on around that it's difficult to pursue all those directions at the same time.
And mostly these centers are based where?
In Krakow, at
Okay.
the Ignatianum University in...
Made in Poland, 100% made in Poland.
Yes.
Excellent. I give first the floor now to Stamatis, who he was the first one who raised his hand. Please, Stamatis.
All right. Good afternoon, Professor Jansik. I had a question coming from an engineering department myself. Right, I'm an aeronautical engineering student, so naturally my question would be, directed towards that area. I was really interested to see what you do in a research environment, let's say, and I was quite interested about your collaboration, perchance, with other engineering departments / researchers in this field, because I know that a very prominent area of research now is regarding human-machine interfaces, aka the cockpits of planes, etc. Have you collaborated? My question would be regarding that, whether or not you've collaborated with any such research entities in order to incorporate your findings in the design, in such designs, as I've written in the chat, for example, to help in designing a human-machine interface, for example, a screen or a cockpit that would take into account environmental conditions, and also how, with your research, how the person in operation of this machine would react to these conditions, and then offer to them, for example, an optimized view or information to suit this condition.
Well, funny thing is that you ask this question because we have just started such a cooperation with the Center of Cyber Medicine and Robotics at the medical school in Krakow, which specialized in utilizing virtual reality technology to improve or to train, to improve the awareness of bodily processes, for example, or to rehabilitate, to cure some motor problems after strokes, for example, and so on. And we thought that would be an excellent method also to train dealing with some motor problems, for instance, in the situation of lack of gravity, how to better control our movements inside the spacecrafts and also on the surface of other, planets. We can easily imagine those American astronauts landing on the moon and having some problems with controlling the movements. And we decided to cooperate in this field together with this center. We are mostly psychologists. They are, as you said, more engineering leaning, and we are very much looking forward to this kind of cooperation with other fields. Not only with them, of course, but with other centers too. For example, to to write some new programs to make it possible to simulate other conditions in this virtual reality, or this what is called expanded reality, and so on and so on. Yes.
Right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Stamatis and Jacek. Laura, maybe you can pose your question to Jacek. Remember to...
Yes, it's a very interesting, thank you for your presentation. It's a very interesting topic, and this actually reminded me of the last experiment that was tested on the parabolic flight, one of the two that we had with this Academy Experiments program, that indeed tested the effects of hypoxia on subjects in conditions such as 0G, for instance. So I'm sure that the group is called the NEREUS team. It was a collaboration between German University in Cologne and Innsbruck, in which also Resolve Astronaut was taking part of the group, was part of the team, and Slovenia. So together with another university in Germany also, that if I'm not mistaken now it's Würzburg, but I need to double check that. Anyway, I'm pretty sure the team is going to make some publications. Now they're still post-processing the results, and well, we can keep in touch, and once the material is public, maybe can be useful.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you very much.
It would be great if you can be in touch. I think both sides can be benefited. Well, we will learn more about Laura now because it's her time to present. We will resume with the discussion. So if you have still any question from to Jacek, you can keep it for at the later stage. Now, I'm very happy to introduce to you Dr. Laura Borella. I would say that reading from her biography that she's an expert in moon, but of course she's doing much more than this. She works for EDU Space Services within the ESA Academy Experiments program. She has a background in space engineering. She worked previously in DLR, the German agency, as a research scientist. Today, Laura will present to us the ESA Academy Experiments program. And Laura, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I am going to share my presentation. So, okay, hopefully you will be able to see it right now.
Yes, we see it. Just put it in full screen, if possible. Perfect.
Is it? Great. Okay, so thank you very much. As Margherita said, I'm Laura Borella, and I'm the work package manager for the ESA Academy Experiments program. I wanted to give you today a little bit of an overview on the experiments program, but also on ESA Academy, what we do and how we support the student teams from bachelor to PhD level. So first of all, this is our site. It's based in Redou, indeed. It's a very small town in the south of Belgium. It's a part of the ESIC, the European Space Agency site in Belgium. And if we want to take a virtual tour, then please welcome to our facility here. As you can see, we have a training and learning program, facility in which we host up to 60 students, 30 in the room that you see right here, but then we have another laboratory just above, which is structured basically the same, in which other 30 students can attend. In the same facility, here we offer trainings, but in the same facility also teams that apply and they want to test their own experiment using a thermal vacuum chamber or a shaker to do vibration tests, so part of these environmental tests that we do for space, then they are also welcome to come, and we offer them the opportunity. They're guided by our experts, and we take, let's say, good care of their experiment. Now I want to show you this video because I think it's quite impressive to see. And then after you're going to see it, I think I want also to ask you another question. So voila, this is one new CubeSat that you see on board of the station. The experiment is called Oscar cube, and then this one on the left is a three-legged robot on board of a parabolic flight campaign that is able to reorientate himself after being released in 0G. And then you see another satellite here that is going to be well, expelled, let's say, from the Ariane 6 launch that just happened basically a few months ago. How many of you think that these projects are made by professionals, and how many things these are made by students? Maybe we can see some hands. Professionals, raise the hands now. Okay. Well, just for time purposes, I will answer. So, no, these are made by students from bachelor to PhD level. And indeed, they look the same, they function the same, they work and deliver the same as professional, because this is what we do. And how we do it in his academy, well, we offer, to go to the next slide. Okay, great. Well, we offer training, projects, and engagements. These are the three pillars that we have. During the training program, the students are invited from 1 to 4 weeks on site to attend classes, which is kind of intense, I have to say, also for us to attend, because it's 8 hours a day, every day, as well as I say here, up to 4 weeks, in which space-related disciplines are taught, and then they can also have the opportunity to work in groups and connect with each other. It's a very nice experience in general. Then we have the pillar of projects, which is a learner-centered set of multidisciplinary projects opportunity that we host from for ground and space-based experiments. So you can test on board of our ground facilities, let's call it that way. Of course, it's not a super official name. I will introduce you the facilities later, and some other space one, like the International Space Station and the Space Rider, the new platform from ESA. And we also try to support, and we do an amazing job. Actually, the program just started a few years ago. It's called the Engagement Program. We support students that wants to do internship, attend conferences, and so on. And we give scholarship in order to allow them to go and boost their own career. Why do we do it? Well, the goal of ESA is to fill the gap. ESA Academy is to fill the gap between the education and the professional environment. So what industry demands and what the university can deliver. So students, when they apply to our program, what we do on bi-weekly meetings, on ad hoc courses or workshops and so on, we try at least to make them ready to work in industry or to join other agencies or our agency as well. It's a very good experience, and that's important for us as well to underline that not only engineering and science background students can participate, but we also welcome to non-STEM university, and the range is, as I was mentioning already, from bachelor to PhD. If we want to take a look at the training portfolio, as you can see, it's quite intense, and well, I won't go into details. Over from human space physiology to spacecraft operations, space weather, space debris, and so on. We also have summer schools, the ESA Summer School, which is a dedicated one for gravity-related experiments, or the CUBSA Summer School, and so on and so forth. This is an example. When the students come, you see, they attend the courses, they work into groups, and they don't know each other. These are all applications that they come from individuals, and then at the end of the course, they will receive a certification. This is not a university certification, but most of the time the students can, let's say, claim somehow the hours that they spend to have some credits, but we do not deliver an official university certificate. So overall, now, if we want to focus on the project that I'm taking care of, the experiments program, this is the list of platforms that we offer. They are not always open every year. This year, we opened the calls for parabolic flights and the orbital robotics laboratory, which is based in Aztec. This year, in 2024, for example, so selection happened in 2023, we selected 7 teams that, together with those that were already participating and tested in 2024, we had a total of 9 teams active. So voila, this is the platforms that I was mentioning before, from parabolic flight to International Space Station. You see also the French astronaut Thomas Pesquet that was operating the Oscar Pink that you saw before, Oscar Cube, sorry, that you saw before. There was a student experiment. Then we have also the Rexus program and Rexus Vexus program, Space Rider. The CubeSat facility is on the bottom left. And that's basically in a nutshell what we do. It's a hands-on opportunity, so they will work on their own hardware and they will deliver once ready the experiment. How does it work? Well, we go from selection to then we offer after selection a training week in which the students are invited on site, and we give them the basics from system engineering to project management in space and so on and so forth. We try always to organize the courses based on the experiments that we selected, so then every year they may differ a bit. Then, okay, as I was mentioning, they develop their experiment until they're ready to the campaign. We are also supported by each expert for each facility, of course, all along the way. Once they join the campaign, then it's time to do the data analysis and to publish or to finish the report that they have to submit to us. Our program, the experiments program is divided, let's say, in 4 phases. And the first one is called Listen and Learn. The second one is this Consult and Compare. And the third one, Submit and Succeed, and then Perform and Publish. In the Listen and Learn, the students will have 1 month to check the lectures and online videos that are published. Then they can reach out to us and we can book a call with them. We get them advices and suggestions on how to write an excellent proposal, what maybe it's missing from their experiment that should be underlined. And I have to say, every time we have the selection boards, then the selection meetings, sorry, then we see the difference from those students that reach out to us and those that maybe decided to do the application without our consultation, which is obviously, of course, fine. It's not mandatory at all, but we really and strongly encourage students to reach out to us. We're always happy to reply. We reply to everybody that reaches my team, our team. After they join the campaign, then okay, we go to the campaign, sorry, and then after they join the campaign, there was this Perform and Publish. Spoiler, just yesterday there was the deadline for submitting the proposals. So in these weeks, we are going to review all the proposals that we received for the experiments program, and then we will organize a board in the next months, in which the shortlisted teams will be invited to present their experiment in front of us and a series of other experts that are going to ask questions and investigate also readiness, novelty of the idea, etc., etc. So this is one of the 2 platforms that we opened for this year, the Orbiter Robotics Laboratory. This is the flattest floor in Europe, and indeed there are 2 platforms. This is the biggest one that can hold up to 250 kilos of payload. It's called the REAXA, and there's a smaller one that is basically half of this, called Mantis. It's simulating microgravity in 2 axes. Then it can be combined also with this robotic arm, and the students from bachelor to PhD can attend. This is probably one of the other and the most famous platform. I hope you can hear the noise as well, but if not, then okay. Well, this is the parabolic flight. It's the A310-0G, property of Nova Space. It's located in Bordeaux, France, and we have 31 parabolas a day for 3 days of flight, in which the experiment can have up to 22 seconds per parabola of microgravity. Here, the entry level is a little bit higher because master and PhD students can apply. Bachelor can still work on the project, but unfortunately, they could not fly on the airplane. This is a video taken from the window seat while the airplane is ongoing. You can hear also the noise. The pilots are explaining and giving information about all the inclination of the airplane, so then everybody knows at which stages and when to expect hypergravity or 0G. These experiments are most of the time all automatized, in which the operator really needs to give a few inputs and not wanted to go on with the next one, just for time purposes. So this is the Ice Cubes facility. I think it's going to be self-explanatory in the video.
Hi everyone, and welcome to space. Quantum sensing, it can change the way we see the world by enabling the sensitive and precise detection of small variations in physical quantities, new and previously unseen behaviors and phenomena. Can be observed.
Did they block? Okay.
The experiment Oscar Cube was made by a team of interdisciplinary students from the University of Hasselt in Belgium in less than a year for the Orbiter thesis program. It will be the first time this kind of quantum magnetic field sensor based on diamond is used in space. That's pretty unbelievable. The mission of the experiment is to map the magnetic field around the Earth and to demonstrate the benefits and feasibility of this novel technology. I wish the Oscar Cube student team good luck with their experiment and hope it brings back fantastic data.
We can then also introduce the Space Rider platform. We have two teams that applied for this platform last year. Sorry, that they were selected, not that they applied. That was my mistake. So they were selected, and well, now there will be the maiden flight, and then also repeating the first flight of this new platform, in which, yeah, it's a usability. The cargo bay will give an opportunity of exposure in the orbit. And this is an overview. So this is presentation of the platforms and an overview of what is the experiments workshop when they come on site. We invite experts from all ESA. We collaborate with all the departments within ESA and also external experts each per facility that we have, for instance, Novespace, etc. And the objective is to provide students with the skill and knowledge needed for the next phase of their experiment. Another program, always in the project, in the project pillar, it's the NEREUS experiment, in which the experiment basically would be mounted on a sounding rocket and launched from S-range in Sweden. We have up to 2 minutes of microgravity and at 10⁻⁴. Well, basically this call opens once a year. Bachelor, master, and PhD students are also welcome to participate in this one. Similar is also for the BEXUS, and which is on the other hand a stratospheric balloon, same location, and then different specifications, let's say, but again once a year, and they develop their experiments from well, phase A more or less until then the campaign. Other opportunities will come with the satellites team, and we have the Flyer Satellite program, design booster, Flyer Satellite design booster, and so on. Teams will learn and also participate in the environmental test campaign, and these programs generally last longer, because from the moment that we select the teams to the moment that there is also the launcher available and so on, this is generally 2 or 3 years, and so there is a very big commitment from the students that apply to this kind of program. However, well, very successful. I want also to recall the AirSat-1 from Ireland that was part of Flyer Satellite team. We have also Flyer Rocket, which is another program again, but we offer also an online course with this. It occurs every 2 years, and individuals, not teams, so this is a difference that can apply from bachelor level on. To conclude with the last pillar of our program, the engagement one, we offer scholarship, internship, also support to conferences and other opportunities that are always like an evolution, this program, because we try to accommodate as many requests as possible. And this is an overview basically. We also offer SME internship support, by the way. This is an overview of what they do. Well, altogether we collaborate and we try to welcome as many projects from very different scenarios and backgrounds as possible. And this is us, the last experiments workshop in June 2024, and some of the test campaigns that we were able to run from 2023, 24 without going too far basically back. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions now, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Laura, for this exciting presentation.
I hope I didn't go too fast because I was
no. It was really perfect. Before I give the floor to the audience, I would like to ask a question from my side. There was a slide in your presentation listing the different fields you take into consideration when you develop this program. For example, you had space law and other.
Yeah, that is for the training program. These are the topics of the courses that we offer to the students. Yes.
Okay, and my question is the following. I haven't, you know, space sustainability is a hot topic the last years, and I'm wondering if there are plans to expand the program scope, including experiments addressing sustainability in space.
Yes, there is. Well, I cannot speak maybe for the training, even though training courses are always under development. Sometimes we see we integrate new lectures, we call new experts, and we are always extending the portfolio of the training as well. And regarding experiments, absolutely. When we receive the proposal, we always value the novelty, the sustainability, and a series of other parameters, educational return, especially because this is what we care in ESA Academy. It's in ESA Education indeed division. So yes, we value, and there is also the idea of expanding the portfolio and welcoming also experts that can talk about and can contribute about sustainability coming from non-STEM fields.
Okay.
Which could be finance, could be ethics, it could be law, could be
exactly.
Yes, yeah, we're really looking. To be honest, we're really looking for those students, and We do offer a course on space law, but I would be very happy to see them also participating in one of our projects.
Do you have any question for Laura? Yes,
Yes, we had many teams from Poland applying.
Please, Jacek, the floor is yours.
Well, I would like to make sure if I've understood you well. Do you have this microgravity chamber actually at your place, at your academy?
In ESIC, we have a thermal vacuum chamber and shaker for vibration test. Then other test facilities are also available for students that apply to our program in ESTEC, so on the ESA site in the Netherlands. So, for example, EMC test is going to be in ESTEC, not in ESIC.
So those pictures we saw were actually on the ground, not taken in the space, right?
So you saw pictures of an astronaut dealing with a student experiment on board of the ISS. That was space, yeah, International Space Station. The students launched.
But I mean those.
He means the beginning. There's the first. The
This
first
robot.
images. It's in G environment.
Yeah.
In G environment. So it's parabolic flight. It's in the parabolic flight.
In the parabolic flight, yes. I mean, the airplane is on ground, and then in the parabolas, because of velocities and angles. Then when the airplane is on top of the parabola, we have microgravity, 22 seconds of microgravity.
Yes, but one of the first films, actually, short films you showed was about this spider-like robot flying in.
Yes, that was on board of the parabolic flight.
Oh, right.
Parabolic.
Yes. So it wasn't on
space.
The ground, actually. It was
it's
during
not
the
space.
Flight. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we were flying, but we were still on Earth. Yes.
Understand. Yes. Thank you.
Gregor Kopecki.
Yeah. So as far as I understand,
yourself, Gregor.
Grzegorz Kopecki from Rzeszów University of Technology. So as far as I understand, you are the owner of this aircraft, or this aircraft for parabolic flight is belongs to another unit like ESA, because
no, ESA doesn't own the parabolic flight airplane. That is property of the company, French company called NEREUS.
Okay, thank you.
Then I have another question. Thank you, Gregor. Then we have another question from our loyal follower of these webinars, Veselin Vasiliev. Veselin, I will read your question. Please clarify if ESA PECs, not full ESA member states, in parentheses, countries are eligible to participate in these student training programs.
Participant, well, we should check on the website.
ESA PECs countries, ESA PECs countries.
We generally open opportunities to ESA member states. So students coming and studying, depends on ESA member states, but the eligibility criteria should be checked on the website, because they differ from program to program, and I do not know.
I think he refers to
if...
Bulgaria, which is an ESA participating country. So it's not an ESA member, but ESA participating.
Yes, it's still written in the website, and the eligibility criteria differ by program to program. So please take a look, and if you have any doubt and you want to participate at the training program or the experiments program, satellites and so on, write us an email to be sure.
Okay, Gregor, you have another question? Because you raised your hand.
No, just a mistake.
Okay. Stamatis.
All right. First of all, I'd like to thank you very much for your presentation. It was rather brilliant, if I do say so myself. I would like
Thank
to
you.
ask you something about the CubeSats that you tested. Right. I've seen both student teams that are neither neither PhDs nor, let's say, from a specific laboratory or university, so not identifying with a specific lab, not backed by a certain professor, participating in such initiatives. But also, I've seen groups that are of a specific laboratory, more specifically our own lab here in the University of Patras of Applied Mechanics, that have developed and flown CubeSats. So I would like to ask you whether or not most of the teams that actually build and design these are of, let's say, independent groups of students, or if they are affiliated with certain departments.
All the students, indeed, to be students, they have to be enrolled in a university. Then which department they may or may not affiliated, it doesn't, let's say, matter too much, because the important thing is that they have to be students. We offer this to students, not to professionals. And well, there are departments in certain universities that we know they have the facilities, and students can access those facilities, reducing the cost of testing, development, and so on and so forth. It's very wide the range. It's not just one group of students applying, affiliating to a certain facility or a certain group, or just those that didn't. Sometimes we also see, it's actually quite often, students are coming from different universities in ESA member states. They collaborate between them. It's a little bit more tricky in terms of working on the hardware in itself, but this is still possible, and it's a very good experience also for them, because yes, it's challenging, but they will learn a lot on how to interface when your team and your hardware is not in the same place where you study and work.
Right, thank you.
Any other question? Laura, I would also like to ask you, what distinguishes this experiments program from other educational initiatives in terms of hands-on opportunities?
Well, in our program, students are really guided from the moment of selection until the test campaign. Obviously, we can have some flexibility, but not too much flexibility, because they need to test at a certain point. And for instance, on the parabolic flight, the campaign dates are decided by a series of other factors, and we cannot say, oh, can you please move the campaign a week later? But for other platforms, we can have like a sort of flexibility and ask maybe to postpone it a bit or to anticipating it. Students, once they join, they get, as I was mentioning, the workshop or like a training opportunities ad hoc for their experiment, but also the interface with us on bi-weekly basis. So every bi-weekly, we have a meeting with the teams, and the teams will present the updated status, the challenge that of their experiment, the challenges that they have, and maybe also if they need some help, then we can organize and give them dedicated help. For instance, if there is a team that has some difficulties dealing with electronics, then we can arrange a dedicated call, or even more than one, with an expert in ESA working in electronics. And so in that way, the team can ask all the questions that they have, and they will receive the dedicated support. So it's something that it's not like producing an exam or doing a project at university in which which you have to do it, let's say, by yourself, or you will not be guided, or you may fail, and so on. Yes, failure is part of learning, and of course, and we do not penalize this, absolutely. But it's important for us that at the end, they are happy, the experiment is working, and they learn. They have their own life experience at the end. Is not only participating in an ESA program, it's also a life experience in itself, and being able to test in one of ESA facilities, which are worldwide famous, and be able to interface with the students from different nationalities, different level of educations, and so on.
I would like to bring to the discussion briefly Marius from Podcaparki region and Andrea from Emilia Romagna. Both they are regional representatives, and I was wondering how, Laura, do you promote the call to the audience, to the students, and in particular to the regions? So I don't know if Andrea or Marius you have heard about such calls in your region.
Yes, I have to say that I didn't know about these programs, and but of course, also I have to say that we have not. Yes, of course, we have in touch with many professors at universities, also in the research centers, and but if it's possible, of course, to have a direct, I don't know, possible to have some news about it, we can spread it, and I think it's can be very interesting for many
Absolutely.
students. Thank you.
Yeah,
If you will have congratulations for what you're doing.
Thank you. Yes, so when we opened the calls, I don't know, maybe Professor, you heard the Fly Your Thesis, Drop Your Thesis programs? Because until 2 years ago, we had Fly Your Thesis, Drop Your Thesis, Pin Your Thesis, and so on. And then we decided simply to change the name, but the program stays the same. Because instead of having, let's say, one dedicated per facility, then it's just one program uniting all the facilities. Yeah, that's also something. We generally advertise it on LinkedIn, on the ESA Academy LinkedIn page. There is also the opportunity to have a newsletter, and generally when we publish a monthly newsletter, you will receive the update what happened in ESA Academy that month. So indeed, if we open the calls, then you will find the link as well to
Perfect.
to apply.
Okay, the newsletter for me is very, very comfortable. Because I don't can say attend, say this social network very often, but yes, I appreciate the form, we can say, of the newsletter.
Yes, there
do it
is.
this way. Okay.
Perfect.
Laura, our regions and NEREUS in general is focused on the use of space. So how to use the data in a wide range of public domains. So it's Earth observation. But our regions, they are also have a strong space ecosystem and space infrastructure. And their space companies are looking for such students, such workforce to be able to deliver and develop mechanisms for the upstream space sector as well. And I think your program is quite important for educating them.
Yes, we have
and leading them to this path, in this path. Therefore, I think the link with the regional level is quite crucial. This is why I'm asking, how do you promote this calls?
Newsletter, social media, and then on the website we try to keep the pages up to date.
If you organize events with the region, or if you other kind of activities, more direct. But I think now it can be a start, and through these webinars, through this webinar series we organize, we can, when you have something new, you can you feel free to join and present it. It would be quite interesting.
Thank you. That's a very nice opportunity. Yes, of course. Now, okay, as I mentioned before, we closed it yesterday, the calls for proposals, but they are open on yearly basis. So from September until December, this is generally the time in which the calls are open. Students, as I said, can reach out to us and so on. And then, yeah, generally in December, first week of December depends then on how soon our program, let's say, is organized, but yeah, generally we close it during this period.
Laura, thank you very much. Stay with us. Stamatis now will share with us his viewpoint following these two presentations. Stamatis is a student of mechanical engineering and aeronautics at the University of Patras. And he is also a member of the he's part of the international board of EuroAvia. EuroAvia is the Association of Aerospace Students. He holds a very important position there, the most important one. He's a treasurer. So the budget. Stamatis, before you share your views on this presentation, please present us very briefly, 2-3 minutes. What is EuroAvia about? While you're sharing your presentation, inform the audience that EuroAvia and NEREUS hold a memorandum of understanding years now. Both associations support each other. Of course, NEREUS education training is one of our key topics of discussion. Therefore, EuroAvia couldn't be outside this interaction. And I think it's for the first time we welcome a speaker from EuroAvia. So when you're ready, Stamatis, share your presentation.
Okay. All right. First of all, thank you very much for your introduction, Marita. That's very, very appreciated. Let me just share the PowerPoint that I've got here. All right. And now it should be full screen and sharing. So if it's visible, then we can start.
Yes, yes.
Brilliant. So as Marita said, I am representing EuroAvia, the European Association of Aerospace Students. Our logo is build. Sorry, not logo. Our motto is build the wings of your future, because that's basically what we do. If I could describe our association in only a sentence, it would be very similar to what Laura said previously, bridging basically the gap between academia and the industry, which, as we know, is quite large. So let's start very briefly. This is the international board that I said before. My two colleagues are from also the Mediterranean, Elia Gzelini, who is the secretary, and Angeles, who is the president. Elia is from Bologna, and Angeles is from Sevilla, and myself as the treasurer from Patras. But let's say just a few things about the association. We are, as I said before, the European Association of Aerospace Students. We were founded 65 years ago in 1959. We are active in more than 42 local groups in 42 different universities in 16 countries. As you can see, our vision is to inspire the next generation of leaders across Europe and to encourage them to push the boundaries of innovation and collaboration. Now, we do this through our mission, which is to serve as the platform for students to, work together, collaborate towards a united Europe, something that I myself find very important in these days with all the things going on in the world. But just if I can show you our network, we're active in pretty much all of Europe, from the north of Scotland in Edinburgh down to Portugal and Spain, Greece, Turkey, Cairo, Central Europe, everywhere that you think there's a prominent aerospace department, we are probably having a local group there, growing at approximately 2 new local groups per year, our newest ones being Edinburgh and in Minho in Portugal. So I'm not going to bore you with all the boring history. Basically, we were founded in 1959. Through the years, we've seen our ups and downs, of course, but we've managed to overcome all difficulties facing us. We hosted a very large symposium back in 1989 about hypersonics, back when the topic was basically the state of the art. We managed to go through the COVID-19 pandemic successfully, even though we were mostly thankfully, because we were mostly based online. Our main, let's say, method of keeping the association alive internationally are our working groups, where students collaborate to keep the association moving forwards, and where our members gain all sorts of important management skills, and not only from things like design and IT to getting grants, talking to businesses, and expanding our association, but also through developing their soft skills with our Euravia training system. More on that later. But the thing that would probably be of most interest to you people over here would be our international events, the methods, okay, with which our members, aerospace students mostly, but not only. In Patras, we've got everything from physicists to students of economy and many, many more. We bring them all together in international events all across Europe to do many things. Let's see them. Our biggest event probably nowadays is our Congress, which is a more functional event of our association. We do 2 per year with the intention of voting in our international boards and amending some things in our association and deciding on the future of it. And then we do some more technical stuff. We have 2 types of technical events, right? We've got symposia, which are more theoretical in nature, where our students, our members, our associates gather together in many cities to be lectured, let's say, by industry professionals and academics on state-of-the-art subjects and matters, ranging everywhere from electronic control systems. This is a picture from the event that happened in Patras in 2022. You can see all of us underneath the famous Rio Antirio Bridge. To space themes, as you can see here. If I'm not mistaken, this is the event in Foli Bologna. No, sorry, this is in Istanbul, where it was about space technologies. We have symposia every space week, right? In October, we did one in Foli Bologna, and this year we were active also in Milano for the IAC, the International Astronautical Congress. We do also soft skills. However, before we talk about the second type of technical event that we do soft skills, because as we know, an engineer is nothing if they don't have the necessary skills to coexist with each other in a professional environment, including very importantly a space professional environment. We do 2 things. First of all, we train our, let's say, training system to deliver these trainings. And second of all, we get these trainers that we prepared to deliver their skills to our members. So you can see some pictures from the 2 events that we did recently in Athens, and if I'm not mistaken, in Cluj-Napoca, right? Where our members learn all sorts of skills like time management, project management, decision-making, and all of these very important things. We do, of course, hard technical events, focusing on our members' hard skills. For example, you can see here our pictures from the event that we did in Rzeszów, based on civil aviation, but we also do other things like rocket workshops, drone workshops, airplane workshops, and all of that, all of these things, where our members learn how to design, build, and operate these sorts of magnificent machines, right, of all sizes, from teensy tiny little drones, quadcopters, to larger aircraft and rockets. I'm going to skip by our fly-ins because that's mostly just people going to places to visit the aerospace industries based there. They're not of such, let's say, big technical interest, but they are interesting in and of themselves. And lastly, our more space-themed event, we do the Airbus Sloshing Rocket Workshop, which is a hybrid competition organized by Euravia and in collaboration with Airbus, which sponsors the event. It's an event that lasts for pretty much almost 6 to 7 months, beginning in January and culminating in the physical challenge in the summer, where the students receive technical education on the sloshing effect. Basically, when you take a rocket, you fill it up with some liquid water usually, and then you fly it, and you have to mitigate the sloshing effect of the liquid.
Samantha, sorry to interrupt you. If you can close.
Yes. Right. Yeah, this is pretty much the last slide, so don't worry. And then the students have to design a rocket around that effect to achieve a large radius of flight. And if you want to contact us for a collaboration, since we are offering access to a network of over 4,000 people spread around Europe, these are our contact details. You'll also find them in the presentation, which we shall receive later on, and our website at www.eureva.eu.
Thank you very much, Stamatis. We will share your presentation with the audience, of course, as always. Jacek and Laura, please, you can feel free to ask any questions to Stamatis. In the meantime, and the audience, of course, in the meantime, I would like to share with you, I put it in the chat, another opportunity. It comes from our friends from ESPI. And it's a questionnaire. Actually, it's a short survey, and it's targeted to students and young professionals eager to shape Europe's approach to professional development and upskilling in the space sector. ESPI would like to have a greater understanding of young professionals and students' needs when entering the European space sector. The survey is part of a larger study aimed at informing European policymakers about the supply and demand dynamics within the space sector. The deadline for the survey is the 8th of December. Stamatis, you may take the link and share it with these 4,000 members of Euravia. So ESPI will know that because of NEREUS, thanks to NEREUS, this survey was a success. I'm joking, of course, but it's good to promote as much as possible these nice initiatives. Now coming back to you, Stamatis, I would like to ask you, how do you manage to connect students across Europe and introduce them to new studies or new space activities? Today we heard the presentation of Laura, the presentation of Jacek. Please put back your cameras, Jacek and Laura. What are the channels you rely on to get informed about those opportunities and share it with members? For example, now will you share these ESA calls promoted by Laura or the studies in Krakow in space psychology? How does it work? How does it work?
We used multiple channels. I'm going to repeat pretty much what Laura said through our social media and our monthly newsletter, but also our websites. We post all sort of interesting blog posts about many such opportunities, but also through word of mouth and some of our events that we do. For example, if I'm not mistaken, ESA Academy participated in the Future and Beyond online event that we did the last 3 years, where we brought industry professionals, academia, and students all together in a virtual environment, and they could network between themselves and also share career opportunities and such calls like the one of ESA Academy.
Okay, great. Yes, Jacek.
Yes, I would like to just share a simple thought that there are so many wonderful things going on around us which we are not aware of, and this is the main problem, which I don't think we would be able to, of course, solve at the moment. It's part of this information revolution that we are surrounded by so many information that it's very difficult to focus on, sometimes even on the most important. But this is anyway, this is a question, and this is a problem. You're doing wonderful things, Laura and Stamatis, and for example, I haven't had an idea about it. Now,
this is why you have NEREUS.
Yes, exactly.
This is why NEREUS exists. This is where NEREUS comes in, steps in.
That's what I wanted to. That's how I wanted to conclude my my remark that it's a great job you're doing too. Of course, yes, NEREUS. It's just a remark. I don't have a question actually, but I just want to thank you for your presentation or your presentations, because I not only just know much more, but there are many more tools which seem to be available for what we are doing, and the perspectives are much better now since I know it.
Actually, what Professor is saying is actually a very nice, let's say, the word just eludes me at the moment. A very nice opportunity, let's just say, to mention one thing that I forgot to mention beforehand in how we connect the students with the environment around them. We also have a mentoring program, right, that runs from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, which matches some industry professionals and professors with one or two of our members, and they just keep in touch in meetings that they do, or messages and emails that they send to each other over the course of the year, where the mentees try to, let's say, suck as much information as they can possibly get from their mentor. And it's a program that just opened its calls. We opened the calls for mentors right now. So if you get in touch with us, we'd all appreciate to have you as mentors for our members. If such a
Please share the link
initiative
with
would be of
me,
interest.
Stamatis, and I can share
I
it
could
also in the
definitely do this.
follow-up of this webinar. Gregor has a question.
With pleasure.
Yes, maybe not question, comment, because I am observing Euravia in Rzeszów since its beginning, because I was one of founders, by the way, of Euravia Rzeszów, and first supervisor of Euravia Rzeszów, because in a structure of students' organizations in Poland, each such an association has its supervisor, and I was the first one. And what Euravia, and it's when I was observing what it was giving, I would like to focus on these soft skills. Why? Because when we were beginning of our play with Euravia, it was very difficult for students to find, for example, sponsorships for their projects out of university. Now, after 20 years, when our, for example, rector was talking to one of deciding persons in one of company, he said something like that: I knew I would give him some foundings, but when they came, when they showed their really perfect presentation, perfect preparation for negotiations, and they have shown their skills, I gave them much more. So it shows that such organizations are really wonderful, and they do really very good things. So we should support them. So that's my just impression. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gregor. And just to inform the audience that the University of Technology in Podkaparki recently, well, it's not to announce it yet. We still need 2 weeks to be approved by the board, but they would like to join NEREUS as well. So I would be very happy to welcome them and welcome you, Gregor, as a speaker in one of our next webinars. Please, Stamatis.
Well,
you wanted to say something? Sorry. No.
No. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other question from the audience? Okay. I would like to thank again Jacek, Laura, and Stamatis for their great presentations and their preparation, the time they took for preparing themselves to present such wonderful initiatives. I think this is the last webinar for this year, and we will resume in 2025 with another webinar in the education training in the space sector. I don't have yet the agenda, but in the next weeks, I hope before Christmas actually to share the invitation for registration with you. Thanks all for joining, and wish you very nice holidays.
Thank you
Thank
very
you for the
much.
invitation.
It has been a pleasure for me to participate in this webinar, and thank you also for the other presentations. I can see a lot of potential in these webinars and these collaborations. It's good to connect, and please, especially from my side, if you have any questions or you want to hear more, please contact me. I'm happy to answer, and I'm happy to help if we can.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you once again. And I guess I have the confirmation from all of you to share your presentations with the audience, right? Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you so much. So bye to all.
Bye. See you.
Goodbye, everybody.